Happy bank holiday. Look at this. This is the entire this is everything that I got, right? Absolutely everything. It's brilliant. This is it. Here we go. Da, 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 da. Hi everybody. A happy bank holiday, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the coronation. I thought it was fantastic. Da, 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 da. God save the king, that's what I say. I'm going to crack on with our special guest straight away. It's your show this nobody else, just me and my guest. Phil has got some personal issues. Okay, I don't want this going any further. He was told that he would be joining Take That last night on stage. At the last minute, Gary Barlow said, "I don't think so." Phil is gutted. He's too upset to appear on the show. I'm sorry. That's how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Eliana Silva, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, more importantly, Eliana, where are you?
At the moment, I don't know if you can hear, there's a church bell right next to me that's ringing. I'm very sorry about that.
Oh, don't worry. Go there and kick somebody. Just go, shut up. I'm on the air. Just punch them. That's the way that we work here. Now, where are you in London or are you in America? I can't remember.
I just moved here yesterday, actually.
What, you moved to London? We've got a slight lag in your audio. So you've moved to London? Did you say yesterday? Wow. She's nodding, everybody, by the way, which is okay. So, and where have you moved from? Oh, this is a very bad connection. It's a very bad connection, I'm afraid, Eliana. But where have you moved from? Where have you moved from? From Spain. This isn't going to work because I can't hear your audio. I'm going to take you out. What I'd like you to do is to reboot whatever it is, your computer, and let's get you back on. Okay, can't do that. Right, we'll have to get Eliana to reboot and everything. Good afternoon, everyone, says Paul Claridge. Paul Claridge. Robert Van Buren. Hello, Russ. Hi, Robert. And from northeastern United States, Azadon Brown. Yeah. He doesn't talk like that at all, but I just love the fact he wears a Stetson in his picture. Hi, Aza. Julie Voice, formerly of Houston, Texas, and now from freaking Guildford. How do you go? Houston, Texas. Where are you now? I'm in Guildford. Hi, everyone. I missed you all last week. I was working on the local election. Hope you were well, depending on who you were trying to support. You either had a great day and a great result or a complete freaking disaster. One of the two. Hope you enjoyed Chazzle Dazzle Day. You gotta chazzle dazzle them. Chazzle dazzle them. I thought it was great. I thought it was bloody marvelous. And from formerly Houston, Texas, we go to Manhattan. Elizabeth Green, morning from the sunshine. Shut your face, Elizabeth. Shut up. Okay, shut up. Bloody awful here. Yesterday was pretty good. Yesterday was quite nice. The weather in London, where I'm based, is rubbish. Grey, the usual thing. It is your show today. Whatever you want to say is fine. Eliana's sorting out her. Here we are. Let's see if we can get her back because we've been trying to get this together for absolutely ages. Let's hope she can hear us and she can see us and everything is marvelous. Let's try again. Ta-da! Any better?
Any better?
There's huge gaps when you speak. No, what happens is I'm not hearing you. Oh, this is not good. Let's see what Julie Voice has to say. Hang on, be right back. I'm a presiding officer. I have to be completely neutral. See, Julie, I couldn't do that job because what I'd be doing is going, yes! I mean, I'm neutral. Yes! I mean, I'm neutral. Right. Eliana, tell us about yourself. Come on. Let's hear what you have to say.
can hear me a bit better.
Can you hear us? It's not great, but we'll struggle. I think it was better when you were in Spain or America. Right, Eliana, let's tell us about yourself, please. Oh, can't hear a word. Absolutely cannot hear a word from you. I can see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you, which is a little awkward for radio. Elizabeth Green, hang on one sec. Elizabeth Green in Manhattan says this. So I woke up and I watched everything on TV. Saturday, I missed London for a minute. Are you missing London? I don't understand it. Elizabeth Green, are you missing London? Are you not missing London? That's what I want to know. And we got David Green. Hello, David. Good afternoon from drizzly County Durham. I'm not sure I've ever been to County Durham. Am I in a rush? Don't know. It's probably lovely. Right, Eliana, let's try. I'm going to persevere. I'm determined, right? That's
Yes.
From the nation conquered the world. Okay, right, carry on. Who are you? What are you? What are you doing here? We want to know.
Yes, so I'm Eliana Silver. I recently graduated from my undergraduate in journalism, and I am starting a postgraduate now in documentary filmmaking at UCL in London. And I made a documentary on anti-Semitism at my undergraduate, which, had mixed reviews. So yeah, I think that's why I'm here today to talk a bit about that.
Why did it get mixed? When I saw that you'd done this, that's why I wanted you on the show. We've been planning this for, I don't know. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but it seemed like months since I reached out to you and we reached out to each other. We're having a chit chat. Why did it get, it's a very heavy subject for Bank Holiday Monday, and I don't care because it's important. Why did it get a mixed reception, Eliana?
So when I initially handed in my documentary, because I had made it as a dissertation for my final year at university, I had a few issues because my professors said it was defamatory. It was basically.
And just let me just stop you there, just so we get the whole. Where did you do this? And how long? First of all, what was the length of the documentary? Was it like an hour, 15 minutes? What was it?
It was about 17 minutes. It wasn't a very long documentary, and it was chronicling it was giving students a platform to speak about their anti-Semitic, their experiences with anti-Semitism at university. So I interviewed.
And was it, Eliana, at a specific university or universities in general on the East Coast or West Coast? Or
so I had 3 interviewees. One was from Cambridge, the other one was from Bristol, and the third one was from Glasgow University.
Okay. Why were you doing that in England and not America? Because you're clearly American. So what's the story there?
I actually went to uni in Scotland, in Aberdeen. And the reason that, I'm American, but I grew up in Spain. And so after I graduated high school, I decided to go to the UK for university.
Oh, okay. Why did you do that?
Pre-Brexit, EU citizens, and I'm an EU citizen, I have Spanish nationality, had free tuition in Scotland, which was great. And also, I did the International Baccalaureate, which is an international program, and a lot of the graduates of that program ended up going to university in the UK. So it was kind of just a normal thing.
You do realize you mentioned the B word, don't you? You mentioned the B word, Brexit.
Oh.
Boy, what a con. What an absolute bloody con. Anyway, we're in the shit. Nothing we can do about it. So you decided to do a documentary, and this gets you what? Does this get you your degree or your doctorate, or what does it get you?
This was for my undergraduate degree, my BA, and it was my final big project. It was my dissertation.
Okay, right. And it got, so you hand it in, and your professor says it's defamatory.
Yes. So my professor said it was defamatory. Specifically, they said there was a part where one of my interviewees was one of the loudest voices in the fight to get Professor David Miller fired from Bristol University for making.
Good. I like him straight away. Whoever it, or him or her, whoever it was. Good.
It was her, yes. She was great, and she really kind of put up a fight to get him fired for inappropriate remarks that he made towards Jewish students. And she never actually called him anti-Semitic in her interview. All she said was that what he said could amount to hate speech and it could be interpreted badly, and he was attacking students. But my professors came back to me and said that she was basically being defamatory towards him, and that I could be taken to court and all these things.
By David Miller.
Yeah, by David Miller. And I was a bit confused because I said, right, but nothing that I said is nothing that my interviewee said is defamatory. And if you look at the laws, for defense of defamation, honest opinion, true kind of personal experience, like those are all defenses. In other words, that they were just speaking their truth and their experiences. And I
always worry, Eliana, I always worry because it reminds me of me again, Markle, when I hear the phrase their truth or my truth, because it's shit. There is the truth. That's it. It isn't, this whole modern bollocks of, well, that's my truth. No. That's your fantasy or that's your view, but it's not the truth. Could be how you see things. So I always worry when phrases like that are bandied around. But she didn't say anything in your professional view that was defamatory.
And not only in my professional view, I ran this past a few different lawyers as well.
Right.
And they all said that it was fine and they didn't see anything wrong with it, which is obviously, it's a common pattern when you're tackling, it shouldn't even be a controversial subject, but when you're tackling subjects such as anti-Semitism, people are very quick to come out and say, oh, well, actually, that's not anti-Semitic. Like, everyone was saying with the
but here's the thing, Eliana, everything else is racist. Everything else in the world is, you can't say that, it's racist, unless it's anti-Semitic, in which case no one gives a shit. That's how it works.
Exactly.
That's how it works. David Miller, Jesus. So he was eventually fired, wasn't he, or removed, whatever the word is. He was no longer in tenure.
But not explicitly for anti-Semitism, just for inappropriate conduct.
Inappropriate, yeah. But other people's lives are destroyed by a tweet from like 15 years ago that they dig up, that at the time would have been okay-ish, but their lives are ruined. Their careers are gone. And David Miller it would appear, not be affected by stuff. I get that. So do you think, and this is quite a tricky question, Eliana, do you think that the professor was showing sort of solidarity with another professor because it would have been removing a little chink in a dam? Or do you think he genuinely felt that it was a difficult video?
So I initially, of course, wanted to give benefit of the doubt, and I was saying, well, maybe it was just a mistake, maybe she just didn't understand it. And I tried to speak with her. I had a call with her and explained. And also another important thing to add is I had sent her my draft, and she had mentioned these things to me, but then I gave her my arguments and she agreed with me that I was right. But then when marking me, she completely, and it's as if we didn't have that conversation.
So she reneged. Let's just break it down. She reneged on what she'd said. Mm-hmm. She'd seen your draft. Mm-hmm. She raised some queries. You answered those queries in full, in writing. Mm-hmm. She agreed with your argument. And when you produced the finished piece, she flipped.
Yeah, I sent her my draft and she was worried about the David Miller part. And then I sent her a very long email, and I have all of these emails, and I sent her a very long email with, I copied and pasted from the UK law, Scottish and English law defamation. Mm-hmm. And I explained to her why this wasn't defamatory. And she said, well, I understand, I completely agree. This is your documentary and you want to make it good. So I totally understand. And she was being very nice and understanding, and then suddenly in the marking, it's as if that just all disappeared, and it was very, very harsh. And it was saying that they said I shouldn't publish this anywhere, and that, you know, it would basically be bad for me if I published it somewhere.
Oh, whoa. It would be bad for you. We're suddenly in a Robert Ludlum novel, are we? What does that mean? Because that to me sounds like a threat.
No, not like, they didn't mean it as a threat. What they meant was essentially it would be bad for me in that they were saying if I publish this somewhere, then I could be taken to court or etc.
So what they're saying, it wasn't a threat. It was giving you notice that there could be legal ramifications if you proceeded, in their professional view.
In their professional view, supposedly, but I honestly think that they had a very strong apparent bias, because I ran this past several other people, professors, lawyers, and none of them saw an issue with it.
What was the contentious part? What was the meat of the area that they thought was very contentious?
You mean what was the part they thought was?
Yeah. What was the part that they thought would be litigious or could lead to libel claims or slander? No, be libel.
Because David Miller was not fired for anti-Semitism.
No, he wasn't. Let's be clear. Let's be absolutely clear on behalf of Men's Radio Station. He was not fired for anti-Semitism at all. He was not.
Because my interviewee alluded to the fact that he was anti-Semitic, they deemed that defamatory, which makes zero sense to me, because, I mean, that's not grounds for defamation. And she didn't even call him an anti-Semite in her interview.
What did she call him?
She said what he said could amount to hate speech, and that he was targeting students. Yes. Which, under the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which is adopted by both the UK government and Bristol University, what he was doing was very, very anti-Semitic.
What was his problem?
Who knows?
No. But you're a very intelligent. You're a very intelligent person. What do you think? Let's dig a little deeper. What do you think was his problem?
Well, he's always been very outspoken, pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist.
Because obviously Israel is the worst country in the entire world. No other nation, especially in, say, South America or some of the despotic countries in Africa, they don't count. Because they're not Jewish.
Essentially, this was his whole issue. You know, he's very anti-Zionist, and you know, there are people that may have criticisms of Israel, which is, you know, in the IHRA definition, it talks about, you know, not holding Israel to a double standard, you know, criticizing Israel the same way you'd criticize any other government you don't agree with. But David Miller, you know, he would create these conspiracies saying that Jewish students were working for the Israeli government.
Yes. Everybody works for Mossad. Everybody in the world, including just the bloke who sells bagels and down the East End, of course. They're all working for Mossad. They're all trained killers, and they know how to use the Jewish space laser. Very important to know that.
He definitely.
Yeah, everyone's got the controls, especially the baker and the kosher butcher. They've all got the controls to the Jewish space laser, which is aimed at Jeremy Corbyn's head.
Took a page out of Marjorie Taylor.
So anyway, Eliana, did you publish? Did you just think, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead? What did you do?
So what happened was I gave an interview to the Jewish Chronicle because I contacted them about this because I thought it would be an interesting story. So they wrote an article. Yep. And then David Hirsch contacted me from the London Center for the Study of Contemporary Anti-Semitism. He's a sociologist as well, and he works a lot with contemporary anti-Semitism. And he contacted me through Twitter and asked to see my film, and then he said, you know, we would love to publish this, and we'd love for there to be an online event where we can stream your film and have someone speak to you about it. So we did an event back in March where I spoke with Martin Bright, who's another journalist, about the topic of, you know, anti-Semitism and censorship and all of this. And it was quite interesting, and I'm really glad that it got published because it was really a labor of love, and I think it's a very necessary piece of work.
Well, it is. I haven't seen it. I have to be in the interest of complete impartiality and fairness. I haven't seen it, so therefore I can't comment on its nature. But the subject, absolutely very important. But in the great scheme of things, they don't. So what's next? What's next?
What's next for me or for the documentary?
Both. Let's start with the documentary. What's going to happen with it now?
So it's been published on the YouTube of the London Centre for the Study of Contemporary Anti-Semitism, so anyone can go watch it. You can also watch the discussion.
What's the title of the piece, by the way, Eliana?
It's Anti-Semitism on Campus, exploring anti-Semitism on UK university campuses from 2021 to 2022.
Okay.
So it's all there on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it.
So the whole film is on YouTube. Great.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody, you can watch it. You'll find it. What do they need to put in? Because that's a long time. If they put in Eliana Silver, will they get it on YouTube? Can they find it on that way?
Put in Eliana Silver anti-Semitism on campus, it should come up. Yes.
It'll be there. And what's the reaction to it?
Mainly good reaction. I actually had quite a few students message me and say that they were really glad I made this film because they had experienced anti-Semitism at university as well, and they were glad it was finally being talked about. On the actual YouTube video, there were a few hate comments from people who were really not happy with the film.
What a surprise! Okay, yeah.
Comments, saying that Jews need to stop victimizing themselves and stuff.
Oh yeah, fine, okay, yeah.
Always get trolls, right?
Yeah, sure. So the same old shit. The same old shit they've been saying for years. Okay, so screw 'em. Who cares? But on balance, more thumbs up and thumbs down on the reviews.
Yes, definitely more positive reviews, and some people who I really look up to, really enjoyed the film, which I'm very happy about. And yeah, I'm glad I got to showcase a real problem that not many people seem to know about. It's kind of like you mentioned earlier, we always hear about, racial aggressions or racial violence or racism at universities. We hear about homophobia at universities, but the one thing we never hear about is anti-Semitism at universities because it's not
so sexy. It's not transphobia. It's not sexy. See, that's the problem. It's just not sexy. That's how the media works.
It's not trendy. Yeah.
All right. This is coming in from the northeastern United States from somebody very high up in the psychotherapeutic community in America. Congratulations on having your film published. Thank you for addressing such an important topic. What's the address of the film? Well, Asa, if you look up Eliana Silver, Eliana, Eliana Silver, like the metal silver, on YouTube, and put anti-Semitism next to it or film, it'll come up. There we are. That's really good. What's next? Excuse me. What's next for you?
So I'm starting in September my MA in documentary filmmaking at UCL, which I'm very excited about. Good. At the moment, I'm working on another documentary. It's on a slightly different topic. I'm investigating the rise of the radical feminist movement in Spain, which is quite a controversial issue. So another controversial issue for me.
Why is that? Why is that controversial?
Well, there's several different feminist movements in Spain, and radical feminism is a controversial movement everywhere, and it's not very known about in Spain. So this would be the first documentary of its kind. So I decided I wanted to take it under as a project.
That's cool. Interesting. And because we had such a dodgy line, blimey, sounds like two-way family favorites. Cutting edge reference there, Russie. Where are you? You're in the I've lost the plot of where you are because I could hear church bells. God, it's like a Poirot film. There's things I could hear the church bells. So where are you physically?
I'm in London right now.
You are in London?
Yes, I am in London.
And are you going to be based in London?
Yes, I'm going to be based here at least for the next year and a half.
Excellent. So I'm going to suggest that while you're in London, you meet up with me and my pal, Colin, who's a film producer, and you should. I'm going to introduce you. He produced little things like Gangs of New York, tiny little films. You wouldn't have heard of it. So I'm going to introduce you and see. And he also does art house. He sometimes produces art house films, which I saw the other week actually with a friend of his. So would that be of interest to you? That might be nice.
100%. Yes.
Okay. Well, you come into town. Come into what we call Soho, and have a cup of coffee and see if you two can, or just have a chat about films and your career, and why not? We're always happy to help, because I like to do to other people what no one did for me. Give them a hand. Give them a hand, because that's what life's about. Greasing the wheels of industry and seeing what may fall. Anyway, so welcome to London.
Thank you.
Have a good time. Stay in touch. You've got my Twitter thing, and I'm going to send you my direct email. Good luck with the film. And one more time, give us a title, because I know people want to know.
So it's Anti-Semitism on Campus by Eliana Silver, and it's on YouTube on the channel of the London Centre for the Study of Contemporary Anti-Semitism.
Brilliant. I'm so glad we finally got you onto the Daily Show on Men's Radio Station. Eliana, I will be in touch. We'll set up a coffee, and that'll be great. Well, it'll be. Whether it's going to be great or not, who the hell knows? Eliana, have a good day.
Great. Thank you so much for
Not at all. Bye-bye. Wow. Could have spoken to her for ages, but she's got things to do, places to go, and people to see. Now, the concert last night. Let's deal with it. By the way, Eliana's subject is so huge. I don't want to be a downer on it. I was rather hoping Phil could be here, because he'd be steam coming out of his little ears. Let's look at this. I want to catch up on some of your lovely messages. So Elizabeth said, she's in Manhattan, as you know. Missed London for a minute, bit of nostalgia, probably for the rain. Oh, you're missing sod all, Elizabeth. I'll tell you that. Right. Paul Claridge. I watched the Coronation concert. The reason I read these things out is because people around the world sometimes are only listening. They can't see the show. They've only got it in that. So let's just read that. Paul Claridge. I watched the Coronation concert on and off for as long as I could stomach it, while resisting the urge to smash the TV screen. Lionel Richie. Jesus Christ. I'll come on to that in a second. Lionel Richie sounded like a poor Lionel Richie tribute act. Paloma Faith, who I love, garbled her words, and Take That came across as has-beens. Oh, desperately trying to recapture their glory days. Let's try and break some of that down. Lionel Richie was diabolical. I'm sorry. Look, I can't sing a note. Okay? I'm not singing here as a singer. I can't sing. I can drum, I can't sing. Lionel Richie, Jesus. It was awful. It was awful. Sitting there going, woo, yeah, come on. That's not singing. That's just bollocks. So it really was. The best thing was on Twitter at the time. The best thing was that everyone was saying this was like Vic Reeves. Do you remember Vic and Bob? So it was Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer, the lovely Jim Moir, married to the fantastic Nancy Sorrell, who's been on the show. And Nancy Sorrell. And they used to do, you had to guess the song that Vic Reeves, the character that Jim played, was singing. It was awful. It was like the world's worst pub singer. And everybody on Twitter was putting up pictures of Vic Reeves from back in the day, like 25, 30 years ago, going, it seems that Lionel Richie is channeling his inner Vic Reeves pub singer. It was awful. I thought Take That were fine. You know, we're all older. Gee, look at me, Christ. But, you know, we're all older. Paloma Faith, who I'll be honest with you, I've never got Paloma Faith. That's just me. Couldn't understand a word she's saying. I thought it was... All I would say to a lot of the singers out there, two of my friends, one is called T Green, T-E-E, that's his name, T Green, and the other is Annie Skates. Annie Skates, two of my chums. Book some bloody vocal coaching lessons, please. Come on. Come on. I would imagine that T Green and Annie Skates were watching that concert and going, what in the name of God are you doing? Because you're singing from here. You've got no power in your voice. You don't sing from there. You sing from here. You sing from your diaphragm. You belt it out. That's why they got voices. They're up here. They got no power. They got no depth. There's no timbre. There's nothing. I thought the concert looked fabulous. It looked fantastic. And there was a plus. Elton John refused to play. Thank God for Small Mercies. That's all I got to say. I mean, he is the pub singer. I know people went to see his concert, so it was great. You wouldn't have dragged me there. But, thank God for Small Mercies. In these difficult times, Elton didn't play, which is great. And he's too associated with Princess Diana. We didn't need all that. It's a new era. Move on. Can't live in the past. Right? It would have been really inappropriate. I thought it looked fantastic. The drones, oh man, when the whale turned in the sky, it's beautiful. Technology at its best. Technology being absolutely wonderful. I thought it looked great. It sounded great. The actual sound production was terrific. Terrific. And most importantly, 20,000 people who were there loved every second of it. Good for them. They loved it. It was apparently a lottery, literally, if you could get a ticket. So well done to them. I'm sure they had a terrific time. And in a miserable, grim, violent, unfair world, it was a couple of hours of entertainment. So you don't want to be too critical about it, apart from Lionel Richie. Lionel, mate, give it up. You're richer than God. Leave it now. I've got to tell you a weird story. This is absolutely true. If I ever say it's a true story, it is a true story. And when I lived in northwest London, I had my house, which is a modest house. It wasn't like a mansion. It was a house, just a house. But it was surrounded by huge houses with enormous grounds. And there was, to the left of me, about two houses away, huge sort of compound run by an Indian family that I think had supermarkets. That was my understanding. It was either supermarkets or chemists. Anyway, in the 19 years that I lived there, I never saw them. Never once. Never crossed paths. They were behind gates, slightly taller than the gates on Game of Thrones, right? You never saw them. But they were always throwing very elaborate parties and fireworks going on till 2, 3 in the morning. What can you do? Anyway, they knew how to party. And one day, all I can hear is Lionel Richie record after Lionel Richie record after Lionel Richie. So I said to my lovely neighbor, Karen, at the time, I said, Karen, boy, did you hear because it was loud. And she said, yeah. And, I said, I like Lionel Richie. I like his tunes, but boy, they really went there. She said, you idiot. I said, what do you mean? She said, no, they weren't playing Lionel Richie records. They flew Lionel Richie in. What? Yeah. Lionel Richie was next door performing live at the party in northwest London. True. Imagine you pop into the cafe. That looks like Lionel Richie having a cappuccino. Can't be Lionel. You're right, Lionel. Look at this. Oh, I love this. Elizabeth Green. Here we go. Everyone's always got a topper story. Lionel Richie sang at my nephew by marriage's wedding in Marrakesh. Of course he did, Liz. Obviously he did. Elizabeth Green again. Never saw the concert. So it looked beautiful. The lighting and everything, the staging, it looked gorgeous. I got to say, they did a bang up job. Whoever did the production, bang up job. There was and it was seamless in terms of getting the acts on and getting the acts off, because that is not quick. Never saw the concert. Watched American Idol Lionel Richie and Katy Perry when were in some special room. Yes, the tea green Annie Skates room of how to sing in the castle, and a live link to USA. And who should wander in live? Charles and Camilla. So embarrassing. What was it? A toilet? I'm dying for a wee. Camilla, where we moved. Oh, good God, it's Katy Perry over there. Now I can't go. Anyway, so there we are. I don't quite understand that. What we got here? Luke Newman. Hi, Luke. I was in London on Saturday shopping. Get you. Hang on. Somebody still goes shopping on Oxford Street? Christ, Luke, we've got to have a word, mate. I don't know anyone in the world who shops in Oxford Street. Oxford Street in Leicester. Where were you shopping on Leicester Square? Were you buying hot dogs? And then on to Wembley Arena to see Mickey Flanagan. Oh, you went out, not just out. You went out. I spoke to a volunteer, so there were a lot of protesters. Oh, screw it. A lot of protesters. Sod off. Who cares? Who cares about them? They're just, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, there was that. You know, there's always the naysayers, aren't there? There's always the naysayers. And I think, you know, they're standing there going, not my king. Well, idiot, he is your king. You may not want it, but he is your king. Because you're a British citizen. If you're a British citizen, you're living in the UK, shut up, he's your king. The end. Whether you like it or not, that's an entirely different matter. But King Charles III is your king. It's the same as the people who go, well, not my president. No, you didn't vote for him. I get that. You voted for the Republicans and you didn't vote for Joe Biden. Don't get me started. You know, I get that. But you lost the election. So like it or not, or loathe it, for those 4 years, he is your president. You may think he's a bumbling buffoon with dementia and really is not fit for office. That could be your opinion. You could think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've never understood why sliced bread's the greatest thing. There must be better things than that. That's your choice. But he is your president. Not my president, obviously, because I'm not American and I can't vote. But I get that. But it's no point saying, not my king. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. You know, why don't I stand in the street and go, not my speed limits? Well, yeah, I don't want to drive at 20 miles an hour. It's a pain in the ass, but that's the law. Ridiculous as it is. But we don't have individual bloody choice. We don't have that sort of choice. You know, that's anarchy, matey. Elizabeth Green, what do we got here? Primary. Oh, primary. You mean Primark? Primani. Yeah, Primark. Primark's all right. Primark's all right. It's okay. It's, you know, these, when Elizabeth Green said that Lionel Richie sang at her nephew by marriage wedding, what people don't understand is these superstars are hired. There was a Middle Eastern, there was a chap I knew, well, I still do, who arranged, he used to start off doing little engagements and discos and stuff like that, and it just grew into this monster company. And I'm not going to plug it because what they ever done for me? Sod all. So he had to arrange a cabaret for a dinner in the Middle East. This is what people don't understand. You know, what do we got? Keith Lemon, Gemma Collins. That's their idea of entertainment. It's not my idea of entertainment, but that's what we sort of shoved in our faces. And this was a dinner for maybe 30 people. No more. Not a grand ball, not a grand gala. This was a dinner. And the cabaret, you ready? Was Diana Ross, Quincy Jones, and Michael Jackson. Boom. Pretty good. Can you imagine? Pop round for dinner. I got some people saying, oh, who's singing? Larry Viner and Lloyd Beanie. No, actually, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, and Quincy Jones and his orchestra. Okay. You can do it. He was summoned over to Los Angeles by this Middle Eastern potentate. I need to speak to you. So he went, okay. And the potentate sent him first-class air tickets. And you attend the meeting when the potentate calls you, which means the middle of the night. 2:00 in the morning, the phone goes. he will see you now. So this bloke goes to the presidential suite or whatever it is in the hotel where this chap is staying in LA. It's 2:00 in the morning. But you have to do, when you're being paid that sort of money, you got to do what you got to do. And there's a fellow coming out backwards, bowing. It's Michael Jackson. So my mate is going, it's 2:00 in the morning, and I've just bumped into Michael Jackson, who's busy bowing, walking out backwards. The whole meeting with this guy, and my friend couldn't believe it, took under 2 minutes. Nothing that couldn't have been dealt with in an email. Nothing that couldn't be dealt with in a phone call. But the guy had insisted, flown him over to Los Angeles for a 2-minute meet. Why? Power. Power. I'm richer than God. You do as I say. What have we got here? Another Elizabeth Green anecdote. At my nephew's bar mitzvah, you're Jewish, who knew? Destiny's Child sang. Oh, and at Friday, shut up. No way. At my nephew's bar mitzvah, Destiny's Child sang. That's, what's her name? Beyonce. Do you realize if Beyonce had married Roy Castle, she'd be Beyonce Castle? Thank you. I'm here all week. Destiny's Child. And at Friday night dinner, Andrea Bocelli. Jesus. Bloody normal. Right. Our friend Paul Claridge. Lionel Richie, a few years ago, totally out of the blue, turned up at Wycombe Wanderers. Paul, that's so utterly random. What the hell? He turned up out of the blue at Wycombe Wanderers, my old hometown team. No idea why I was there. I think being as the ground is in the middle of nowhere in an industrial estate. Neither did Lionel Richie. What the hell? Why on earth was Lionel Richie at the grounds of Wycombe Wanderers? Is that weird or what? Wow. Gosh. Well, I've done something quite weird recently. I've divested myself of everything. Everything's gone. Everything. I've decided, as we used to say at school, to have a tabula rasa, a clean slate. Wipe the board clean. And I've got rid of virtually everything. I know. Radical, huh? Radical. I'm not going to explain why. It's a long, complicated story and it's kind of private, but I'm not going to go into it. But it's all gone. Everything. I've sort of halved, and I haven't finished. I've halved my clothes. Probably, I'm just giving it away. Giving it to charities. Giving it to a hospice and to the local charity shop because it goes into the local area. Everything's gone. Everything. Yeah. Traveling light. Traveling, and it's going to get a lot lighter. I'm nowhere near finished. Culling. Just culling. And I've thought, if I haven't worn this, just as a stupid example, if I haven't worn this in a year, it's gone. Am I ever going to wear it again? Do I want it? What do I actually need? I need my Doc Martin boots, pair of jeans, t-shirt and a sweater. That's kind of it. And I haven't got much more. I have a ludicrous amount of, I don't know how the t-shirts are built up, but I'm going to cull it again and cull it by about 50%. Socks I took. You know, the big double strength plastic bags, you know? Got rid of it. T-shirts are going to be halved. Yes, thank you. Thank you for this, Mr. 50T. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is. I've got. Do you know when you don't keep a check and you're going through the supermarket, you think, I better get a T-shirt. I better get some more socks. And then you think, what the bloody hell have I done that? I got. And then you look for stuff, you can't find it. Am I right? I'm right. You know I'm right. So anyway, I'm just completely This is Elizabeth Green. Elizabeth Green. I'm going to tell a story when I landed on Mars. I want to see if she can top that. Anyway, here's a story for Elizabeth Green. When I was the first person to step foot on Mars, and I lived there for a couple of years, I want to see what she comes back with. Elizabeth Green, my brother. You've all worked out who Elizabeth Green's brother is, haven't you? You know who he is, right? If you don't, message now. I think you know who he is. My brother just once walked out of his flat in Hanover Square. If you don't know Hanover Square, by the way, it's a beautiful London square. If you're watching this in America or Spain or France or Germany and all the places where this goes to, all over America, I know. Hanover Square is a beautiful thing. So we're not London-centric. It's this global station. My brother just walked out of his flat in Hanover Square, leaving everything. I'm never giving up my clothes. Elizabeth, I've met you twice. Give them up. Primark. Why aren't you giving up your clothes? It's just stuff. It's a very hard thing. The hardest thing is if they have sentimental value. I'd love your views on this. If something is sentimental, oh yeah, well of course. Oh, Elizabeth, I got to ask you a question. Did he make you pay when you went to Topshop? Did you have to pay? The answer is yes. It's like, Christ, you should have just walked in with a card. I'm his brother. The card should just say, I'm his brother. Everything's free. How do you feel about this, gang? If something is sentimental to you, is hanging on to it a good thing because it links you to happy memories? Or does it anchor you to the past? What do you think? I don't know the answer, by the way. I wish I did. It's been very difficult because you don't know, am I keeping this because I want it? Because it links me to people who've passed on? Or I'm just keeping it for the sake of keeping it? What do you think? Does it free you to get rid of stuff? There's a lot of mental health goes into this. I'm not just talking about it from my cares about my perspective. I don't give a damn. In the wider perspective, getting rid of stuff should be, so your brother, Elizabeth Green, gave you a 50% discount in Topshop. How much was he worth? Christ. What was he worth? 300 million. You can have 50%. Really, Philip? Is that the best you can do? 50% or sort of. Be that. You can call it, oh Christ, God, she's on a roll today. You can call it, what's she saying? You can call it vintage. When I wear something of my mother's, I'm channeling her. Or are you channeling her? See what I did there? Fantastic. God, I'm on form today. David Green, this is good. Cutting all the anchors out of life is always beneficial. Is it? It's interesting. Anyway, I look at this stuff. I'm never going to wear it again. No. People change. My shape has changed. I've got older, like everybody else, put on a few tons. Look at myself from like 10 years ago. I go, jeez, who was that guy? What's this guy? What have we got? We've got Paul, obviously, coming up with a gag. What's the world coming to? You clearing out your unwanted clothes and Joe Good on her vlog questioning her addiction to buying new clothes. What next? Phil Dave giving up hope and giving away. Shut up. Leave Phil alone. He's got a lot on his plate right now. If Phil gives up his cravats, then we know we're in deep shit. It's going to be World War III. If Phil Dave gives up 3-piece suits and cravats, head for the nearest nuclear shelter because it's going to be bad news. So I'm just wondering, and it's a big mental shift to think it's just stuff. It's stuff. Here's my question. Do we value ourselves through the shit that we accumulate? Or do we value ourselves of who we are? Don't get me started on me because I'm a lost cause. You watching and listening all over the world, do you value yourself through the stuff you've accumulated or through your relationships and what you've achieved, or just that you're a decent human being? What do you think? These are really kind of deep issues. And the other thing, Holy God, dealing with the public getting rid of stuff. I went on a few sites, Gumtree. I was going to say Tinder, Gumtree, and what's the other one? Freegal. They're good. I recommend them, by the way. Gumtree was pretty good, and Freegal was pretty good. And just jaw dropping. Number one, the number of time wasters. My favorite I got rid of a garden bench. I got the bench for my late wife because she had to sit down a lot when things were. I mean, she was young, but didn't have the strength for the chemo. And it was a very comfortable garden bench, and I got it as a surprise. And eventually, I've got room. It's got to go. And eventually, the guy says, "Oh, I want it as a memorial garden for my wife. God bless you." The moment I see God written in a reply, I know I'm in deep shit. Right? The moment anyone drags God into an argument, boom, I'm done. Right? So God bless. And I'm coming over. I'm getting a van. Never heard from this twat ever again. What do we got? Leslie Demesa says this. Keeping one or two items of clothing of sentimental value seems more than reasonable, particularly if the item still holds the fragrance of a person who has passed. Keeping items of financial value is different. Yes. My dad, a man of few words, gave me some very good advice. 2 bits of great advice. And boy, did I adhere to it during my culling, which is not finished, by the way. It's an ongoing process. And it's just the time of my life to do it. It's just right. Number one, Pop said to me, I called him Pop. Pop said to me, your first loss is your best loss. In other words, just take it and move on. Take that first loss and get the hell out of Dodge. Seriously. Because what happens is you think, oh, I could get a bit more. Just go. It's not going to make any difference to you. It's not like, oh, I sold it for £5 and I could have got 30 million quid for it. No. You sold it for £5. Maybe you could have got 15 quid for it. But you've still got the bloody thing. No. Your first loss is your best loss. Suck it up. Bite the bullet. Finish. Move on. And the other thing is about value. And my dad said this to me, but it's so true. And I've really, over the past month or so, it's really come home to me. And it's this. Something is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Something is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. What do I mean by that? I've got some items that were my grandmother's. I'm attached to them. I would imagine they're worth very, very, very little financially. One's a sort of beautiful carved card table. It opens up into a green baize card table, but it looks like it's beautiful carved wood. Sort of things you can never find anymore. And the other's like a sideboard, as my mum used to call it, a chiffonnier. I don't know if that's the word. I don't know. But anyway, it's a thing. They're sentimental to me. Sentimental value, very high. Financial value, I don't know. So whatever someone's willing to pay for it, that's what they're worth. So it's no good me, and I'm just putting this forward as an idea. I'm not talking about me personally. One, or as the French would say, on. It's no good people saying, well, I'm going to hold on to it until I get good luck. Good luck with that. Either give it away or it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. That's its price. The end, It's the best bit. I had a beautiful garden set, 4 benches that all matched around a beautiful square table. It was wood, very nice quality. No room for it anymore. Time for it to go. So eventually it went, and I said as a sweetener, because I had these huge pot plants, the really big plants, very tall, about 5 feet tall, in big, heavy earth. I said, you can have some of those as well. Oh, great. And I said, I'll give you the paint for the table. You can have the whole thing. And it was a bargain price. Bargain price, right? This is people, right? This is people. I get a phone call from the husband. Well, I don't know who the husband is. You know, the wife's come to pick it up. Oh, these plants. Yeah. They're not in bloom. He's had them for nothing. They're worth, I don't know what. They're the pots alone, like 30, 40 quid each. Right? I said, they what? He said, they're not in bloom. I said, it's not the summer. I said, I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge of the weather. Mate, they will be in bloom. They're not in bloom now because it's not the right time of year. Oh, are you sure? I said, I'm not Alan Titchmarsh. I don't know. I'm not a professional gardener. They normally bloom for me on an annual basis every year. I thought I'd add in the word every year in case you didn't know what the word annual meant. I don't care. I like to mansplain to idiots. Anyway, so that was that. So but you know, it's like, wow, for Christ's sake. Although my favourite was, was the lamps. The lamps. He wants to meet me at the tube station. I'm standing there like a moron with these two bloody great lamps. Really big China lamps with lovely lampshades and everything. The woman arrived. And I said, well, she's late. She's changed the place where we're meant to meet. And she arrived. I said, oh, where have you come from? I've been in this country over 6 years. I said, no, love. I said, where have you come from on the bus? Which leads us all the way back to our first guest, Eliana Silver. What constitutes racism? She's late. She's changed her mind. She's not coming on the train. She's coming on the bus. And I asked, where have you come from on the bus? And she thinks I'm being racist. I meant, where have you come from on the bus? Because you're going to take the two lamps back with you. One of the rudest people I've ever met. I walked away. I'd rather have given the lamps away, which I did. I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that. Thank you for indulging me, says Elizabeth Green. I don't usually talk about all that family extravagance. That's absolutely fine. Don't you worry, Elizabeth Green. You're absolutely welcome. Julie Voice, formerly of Houston, Texas, and now Guildford. How are the oil fields of Guildford? How are the Ewings? I have the same card table. It was my late husband's most treasured possession. I will never part with it. Oh, now you got me worried, Julie Voice. Now you got me upset. What have we got? Paul Claridge. I've got an old photo of me and Russ taken at the Bedford a few years ago. Blimey, have you? Right, the Bedford's a pub in Balham, run by Tony. Oh, Christmas crackers, Tony. Mine's gone blank. Can't think. Too tired. Too much going on. A few years ago, there I was hoping it might be worth a few quid. Had things after that night gone differently for Mr. Kane. Alas, things didn't go so well. Shut your face. The photo's free. Anyone who wants it. Yeah, Paul. Yeah. I think it's part of life. We don't need. Yeah. What do we got? Oh, she's back. Yeah. Anybody wants hard to donate? I have 3 storage units in London with furniture I want to give away. Any takers? Elizabeth. Very simple. Use Freegal or Gumtree. Freegal's good. And there's a lot of these recycling sites. And the only other thing is some of the stuff I gave to the British Heart Foundation. Which sounds like a wrestling tag team, doesn't it? The British Heart Foundation. Tony Moore, thank you. The lovely, my mind just went blank. The lovely Tony Moore. What a lovely man. Nice man. Used to be in Cutting Crew, was in Iron Maiden for a little while. The most unassuming fellow that you could possibly imagine. Phil Dave, we wish you well. We send our love. It'll work out. This is not Elizabeth. Give it up. BHS Furniture. No one bloody who collect. Yes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. British Heart Foundation. British Heart Foundation. If you smell what the Russ is cooking. Yeah, they do collect, but it's got to be all the right fire regulations. They're very, very, very picky. If it can just spontaneously combust, I threw them out my flat once. They were so bloody rude. They were charming this time round. Absolutely lovely. British Heart Foundation takes furniture. You've got to set it up. They do collect. Friedel will come to. That's it, gang. We're out of time. Thank you for me and my ramblings. You were very indulgent. Loved our guest, Eliana Silva. I think we'll get her back on when Phil's on because I think he's got lots to do. Have a wonderful bank holiday Monday. And let me just end by saying, God save the King. Stay safe, everybody. Be back on Wednesday. Till then, have a great bank holiday. Bye, gang.